a bodybuilder, but Jodie Marsh hasn't always been so confident.
Growing up, she endured 4 years of suffering at the hands of school bullies, and in a new documentary, she faces up to some of those uncomfortable memories and along the way meets other victims.
While recovering from her illness, a large cyst had grown on Millie's neck, which became the focus for nasty rumours around the school.
I heard things being spread around school saying that I had cancer and everything on my neck. I just thought of myself being really ugly and everything. And then I just wouldn't speak to my dad. Like, he was like, Millie, what's wrong and everything? And I'm like, nothing. He's like, no, tell me.
Okay.
So what's wrong? And he goes, I'm too ugly. And he goes, no, you're not. And he goes, I see, here I am. And then at one point, I thought I was really ugly and I started cutting my hair.
Oh, goodness me, that's really hard to watch. Jodie joins us along with Alex Holmes, who was also bullied at the school and is now an anti-bullying campaigner. He also appears in the documentary alongside Jodie.
I'm welling up watching it, and I've been through it, and I know what's coming on the show. But
but this is why it is very important to talk about something like this, because this is the reality of it. I mean, this is young children, our children, that we're talking about, who are feeling like this. And Jodie, for you to do a documentary like this, having experienced it yourself, was that a difficult decision to make in the first place?
No, it was a very easy decision because I'd actually wanted to make a show like this for, well, I've been famous for 10 years and I've wanted to make that show for 10 years.
Right,
because
okay.
it's so, I think it is so important. My bullying at school changed my whole life. I wanted to be a vet and I only do what I do now because of being bullied. I decided to become a model to prove to my bullies that I wasn't ugly.
Right.
So, okay. You were a happy child, as you say, you're a bit of a tomboy, but a very happy home life. Initially, very happy at school.
Yeah.
And then you broke your nose during a hockey match when you were 8.
Yeah.
And that was the start of it.
No, it started at secondary school when I was about 13.
But the nose, it was the nose that was the bullying.
It was. They started picking on my nose, and then I got called ugly and a big nose and dodgy nose and all sorts of things right the way through secondary school.
Well, there's a fine line between being bullied and and teasing and being teased. But with you, they were spitting in your pencil case. I mean, this was nasty,
they
nasty
would kick
bullying.
Footballs at my head, and I mean, I was terrified. By the end of my secondary school, I didn't have a single friend there. I used to. At lunchtimes, I didn't eat any lunch. I used to go and hide in the library at lunchtimes. I was a complete loner at school.
And like you said, you were a grade A student.
Yeah.
Up until this point.
Yeah.
But completely, the effect that the bullying had on you meant that you sort of turned away from all of your studies.
Yeah. It changed my whole life. It really did. Like, truthfully, like I say, I wanted to be a vet, and I would have gone off to uni and done that, and that was my plan in life. And then I remember I was 15 years old when I wrote in my diary, and I've still got the diary at home, that said, I said, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to be a model, because I'm going to prove to these people that I'm not as ugly as they say I am. And that was it. My mind was made up at 15. I wanted to get onto the front pages of magazines, and I knew I wasn't tall enough to be a catwalk model, so I thought I'm going to have to do glamour. And that's it. They changed my whole life. So.
Did you contemplate suicide?
Yes, loads of times.
Did you really?
I don't want to well up on TV again.
Yeah.
It's a massive thing to contemplate. That's a huge thing to contemplate.
Yeah.
What about your family? They were aware of what was going on?
Not at first, they weren't.
You're all right.
Take over.
All right.
Say something, Alex.
No, we can absolutely. We can move on. That's no problem at all. We might come back to that in a moment, though, if that's okay. But Alex, you were bullied yourself. Why were you bullied?
I was bullied at school because it was mostly racism at primary school, because I was mixed race. I still am mixed race, but they just pick up on that and they just say things quite hurtful. And then at secondary school it continued, and it was mostly verbal bullying, and it would be at times when I was feeling okay, I was happy, I was confident, they'd just say something out of the blue that would really kind of hurt me, and make me feel horrible about myself. And
so how do you attack it? How do you approach it? How do you stop it from happening?
I think that's a really good question. At the time, I found it incredibly hard. I can remember going home in tears quite often, and my mum just thought I was going through a bit of a mood of being a teenager. And I didn't tell anyone about it, which I think was a big mistake. And it wasn't until I joined the sixth form that I was able to do something about it.
Yeah.
And sort of bullying has moved on with everything. I mean, it's not just in the playground now. This is something that when you go home, it can get you at home with cyberbullying. I mean, it's the whole platform has changed.
Yeah, I think bullying has become quite sophisticated, because not only can you be bullied within the school gates, but the moment you leave the school gates, you can be bullied, and it can be in your bedroom. You just cannot escape it. And for somebody, for young people who spend a huge amount of time online these days, that has become their world, and they can be targeted.
So what
that
do
way.
you do?
Delete and block.
Yeah. I mean, and that sounds really simple, you know, just to delete and block someone. But I mean, it's quite hard. I think probably one of the hardest things to do when you're being bullied is to take that first brave step and speak out. But you've got to speak out, because I think there are so many ways to deal with bullying. And probably what you don't want is, you don't want someone that's going to completely take over the problem, because you still want a bit of power. You want to be able to solve that together.
One thing I found through doing this show is that kids and teenagers are too scared to delete and block internet bullies online. They're just scared for whatever reason. Sometimes because they want to look popular, and they want to have lots of friends, you know, on their social networking sites. So they want to have as many friends as possible. Sometimes they're just scared of the consequences, and for whatever reason they're just scared. So they keep these people on their social networking sites, even though they're bullying them. And you'll see on the TV show, I actually went and met a family. This is why I'm getting upset now, because when I see clips of the show, it just kills me. I went to meet a family whose little boy killed himself from being bullied online, and they showed me the abuse that he'd received online, and I mean, I felt sick. You know, it's the most horrendous thing I've ever seen, and I know, because reading this abuse, I've been there and I've had that. You know, I still get abuse now on things, you know, on my own social
even as an adult,
sites.
the bullying continues.
Exactly.
With you, in a way.
Yeah, but with me now, you know I look like an emotional wreck now. I'm not. I'm actually the happiest I've ever been in life.
Well, this is a tricky subject.
I'm upset because of, you know, this whole journey has been so emotional.
There was one case that I saw, Zoe, who went to uni studying to be an anti-bullying teacher, and was bullied there. Yeah. Bullied at uni.
Yeah.
And so this is not something. This is not sort of kids being nasty and vicious and vile in a playground or on a social networking site. These are adults doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, sadly, 1 in 4 adults are bullied. I think it's a massive thing.
1 in 4.
1 in 4. Yeah.
Because this isn't just a child thing either.
No, it goes way beyond that, and I think it's something that, as a country, we're struggling to get a grip on. I mean, I work for a charity called the Diana Award, and I run an anti-bullying programme, and there is so much schools can do to tackle bullying, and I think you've got to start at school. Young people spend...
Well, you've got to start at home.
Well,
I mean,
I think you're right with that.
If it's acceptable, or you know, it is the way you maybe partly, it's the way that you parent your children, that you to respect people. Your 3 Ps. What are the 3 Ps?
I believe in passion, perseverance, and politeness. I think you can get anywhere in life with politeness, and it's a message I try and give to young people at some of the anti-bullying events that I do around the country.
We hear lots of advice given if you think, you know, if you think your child is being bullied. But what if you suspect your child of being a bully?
I think that, you know, that's a really tough one, and a number of parents, I think, identify that. When I do a lot of the work in the schools, a lot of the young people will come forward and they recognise that their behaviour is actually that of a bully, and that it'll be a chance to change. But if you're a parent and you're at home and you think there's some signs that your child is bullying someone else, I think you've got to take a moment to look at that and think of the effect they're having on someone else, and you've got to work with them, because obviously they need help. And
because bullies are not... You know, you automatically assume a bully is someone who's just a really nasty person.
Yeah, but there's always a reason.
There's always a reason, and you know, they're always very insecure themselves, or very unhappy in their own life, and so you can get to the bottom of that.
Well, it's Bullied, My Secret Past. It's Channel 5, Wednesday at 10, and thank you very much indeed for coming in.
And I've also got my bodybuilding show on tomorrow night.
Have you really? Yeah, you're looking great.
So everybody watch that as well.
Thank you. If you've been affected by anything we've been talking about, or you'd like more information, go to our website, itv.com/thismorning. We're back after the break.